Hello there, World of Tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, World of Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be playing in the FV4202. This is a British Tier 10 Tech Tree Medium, a vehicle which features an incredibly dangerous gun, solid mobility, and rather troll armor, allowing you to not only get decent bounces, but dish out some very dangerous damage. In today's video, I'll be letting you know everything you're going to want to about this vehicle after the recent changes of the latest update and how you should be playing this tank. We're going to start off by doing a brief self-sponsor. For any of you that are unaware, I do have a membership option on the channel, and a couple days ago I asked what you guys want to see as members played. So as we can see, the FV4202 was the #1 voted tank. So if you do want to join the channel, it's as low as $1 a month, and you get to vote on what videos are coming out on my channel, at least 2 a week, which is always pretty nice, especially if there's a tank that maybe you haven't seen talked about in a while that you want to see played. So, as I said, in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the 4202. Let's do a brief overview of its statistics. What does it have going for it? Well, first of all, it's got really good dispersion, 0.262. I am running refined gun after all, but even without refined gun, you're still looking at around 0.3-ish dispersion. It's a fairly accurate tank. Pair that with the fact the vehicle's got fast aiming time, that 3 seconds. It's not bad at all in that department. When it comes to DPM, it's a little bit on the lower end, 2,900, definitely the worst for all the mediums in Tier 10. But you have to remember that this tank also features a Hesh-firing gun with 230 millimeters of pen and 440 damage. Basically, any of the lightly armored mediums or tanks that you have weak spots that are exposed, you're going to be able to rip damage into them. And if you get even lighter tanks like a Bat Chat or a Sheridan and you get their weak spots exposed, you can deal upwards of 480 damage with the base high explosive, which has 70 mils of pen. While the Hesh did lose a bit of pen in the latest update of the game, the AP got a big buff of 3%. Now it has 275 mils of standard pen. This is a very, very good medium for standard penetration. You don't actually have to worry about gold for the most part because you have so much standard pen. 10 degrees of gun depression allows this tank to be fairly flexible on any ridgeline it plays, and pair that with the top speed of 60 kilometers per hour, and the 4202's kind of got it all. It's got mobility, it's got decent damage per shot, and obviously the ability to sling Hesh into any opponents that aren't showing you the front of their heavily armored vehicles. Especially judging that you are a medium, you're able to use that mobility to outmaneuver your opponents and get out some dangerous shots. So up against us we have a Lorraine 50T, we have a TVP. They actually don't have much for mediums. Do I have much for mediums? Well, I do have 1 extra, so we have an unfair advantage, but that doesn't mean our team is going to take advantage of that, because we do have a Leopard, and Leopards are usually not the best players, but I guess we'll find out. I'm hoping that he supports me, pushes over towards base C, but as of now, he's AFK, so that's not really instilling too much confidence in me. Let's hope that the enemy team does not YOLO all of their tanks over to base C, because if they do, I'm probably going to die. Because of that, we're not going to play aggressive until we see anything get spotted on base B. This is always something that I just recommend in general. Obviously, if the TVP ends up poking this, we will hopefully be able to get a shell out. But at least with base B being captured, we know that the enemy team has 1 vehicle over there. With the enemy TVP in front of us, we're going to back up. Not sure what the TVP is doing, but it looks like he's running away. Okay, well, we got the 4005. We also got the 57 Heavy. I'm going to aim it on that 4005, and this is where that very, very nasty alpha of the standard high explosive comes into play. We get a beautiful shell into the 4202 once, twice, 2 shells into his tank, and he's already just bleeding his HP like crazy. I don't know if that one hit. I don't think it did, but we're just going to move up a bit. We're going to see if we can catch this 4202 off guard again. Maybe, maybe not. Let's see. I'm going to try and... Ooh, actually, wait a sec. We got the enemy 183 at distance, and there you go. A nice 468 damage shell into his vehicle. That's always got to hurt quite a bit. Okay, well, we also got the Conf Panzer. I don't necessarily want to be shot by that 183, so I'm being a little cautious. We got our 4202 moving up. We can see the 4005 in the distance, and we're just going to move a little wide, and I'm hoping that the TVP shows me his rear, although, you know, I'm just going to aim it on the 4005. Wow, that shell went to actually China. That's the downside of kind of poor on-movement dispersion. You will miss the occasional shot here and there. It's not that big of a deal, but it definitely can affect what your gameplay is. We fire a high explosive shell at the Conf Panzer. Unfortunately, it doesn't do anything. We're going to fire another HE. That one does appear like it actually did some decent damage. And with the enemy 4005 being cleared, this gives us the opportunity to play rather aggressive. We have the flat side of that TVP, but unfortunately, again, the accuracy of this tank not really treating us well right now. It's not necessarily a good sign for the 4202's on-movement dispersion after the latest changes of VSABs. That's why I'm running refined, but at least we get out damage. That's all that really matters. And I'd still rather have that accuracy when sitting still rather than a slight buff on move. So we can see that our Conf Panzer is fighting the enemy 57 heavy. I'm personally not going to worry all too much about that. We're going to use that great top speed and mobility this vehicle has to make our way over towards the enemy. We got the E4 spotted in front of us. There you go. Look at that. 550 damage juicer into his tank. And in just a moment, we're going to be reloaded again. We get another shell. Bit of a low roll at only 360 damage, but still a pretty nasty shot, none the least. We're going to aim it on that E4, and there you go. 428 high explosive shell into his tank. Now we're going to try and make our way behind the enemy Conf Panzer, see if we can get a shell out into his vehicle. We can see our Leopard is flanking behind as well. So yeah, I'm going to see if we can get some damage into this Conf Panzer. There you go. A little bit of a low roll, but still 380 damage. Not too bad at all. That brings us over 4,000 dealt. We're going to get to the flat side of the KPZ. 450. I mean, this thing just rolls like crazy. The damage output of the 4202 is ridiculous. And sure, you might not have the most DPM when firing standard, but the fact that you are able to out-trade the majority of vehicles in front of you allows you to get out these really dangerous shots. So we get a second class, 4,700 damage dealt, and obviously top on the team. Not too much of a worry there about that. Now, that's not to say that the FE4202 doesn't have downsides. In fact, it has plenty of downsides. Obviously, the biggest one is that it has no premium ammunition, but that's not the only one. It also has really bad turret armor. See, in the latest update of the game, calibrated shells buffed all AP and heat ammunition, and the 4202 turret was mainly troll at getting bounces from AP shells. But now that the average AP shell has about 10 more mils a pen, it means that you are not going to be getting bounces really at all in the turret of this tank. When you pair that with the fact that this vehicle also is just not... Ooh, wait a sec. Right into the lower plate of that Conf Panzer 50-ton. What I was going to say is when you pair the fact that this vehicle doesn't get premium ammo with also the fact that its turret armor basically just got flat worse, and obviously you're going to be in a pretty awkward situation. Now, if the enemy Skoda T-50 is in the open, we do get a nice 440 shot. This is obviously where driving a Hesh-firing vehicle can be nice, because I'm out trading opponents in front of me. Skoda T-50 gets shot, and now he's going to probably... Well, he's honestly just dead at this point, but we'll see. We also got the Chieftain in the back, and as much as I'd love to shoot that Chieftain, we just don't have the shell yet. However, see ya! There you go. Nice shot. Okay, well, we've already dealt 1,000 damage, which is obviously quite nice. And we're going to wait just a little bit longer. I think at this point we should be unspotted. Let's see. I don't see the enemy Conf Panzer in front of us. He is. And unfortunately, the accuracy on move again, kind of letting us down at least a little bit when shooting at the enemy there. But we still got the shell out. Not bad. Alright, we're going to ignore that Conf Panzer, even though he's dead anyway. We're going to start shooting at that Chieftain. We get one nice shell right into his lower plate. We're going to aim in another shell on his side, and there you go. Look at that. 446 juicer into his tank. This is where the high explosive on this is just incredible, because not only does it deal so much damage, but it also just doesn't care about your armor. It's just insane. So we're going to get to the side of the Chieftain. We get a 550 damage max roll into his tank. Just like that, we are obviously sitting at quite a bit, 2,700 damage dealt already. As much as I am worried about a tank like the Grill, at the same time, it's not that big of a threat. Grill takes off about a decent amount, but we're going to reload again, and while we are not able to fire a high explosive shell into his vehicle, we are still able to get a pretty decent shot, obviously taking away a very solid amount of his hit points. There you go. Nice shot into the enemy 268, and all that's left is an AFK Sheridan. Well, he's actually not AFK. He decided to come back at the last moment. Alright, well, we are going to push the Sheridan full speed. We get a nice shot into him, and then we ram him for 375. A lot of people don't realize this, but the 4202 is actually quite good at ramming, and it will get very nice damage out. So, at this point, we've done more than enough this game. Even though we might not have 8 billion DPM when you compare this tank to that of a Leopard 1 or even a 30B, what you do have is much, much better damage output. And that's all you really need sometimes. I thoroughly enjoy playing in the 4202, and while it does have struggles, if you're skilled enough to you know, kind of push them down and make the advantages shine, then you're going to do really good in this tank. I mean, look at that. 4,800 damage, top on the team, really very little effort being, you know, needed in that game. And overall, I'm averaging over 3,700 damage in this tank with over a 70% win rate. So I really enjoy the 4202. I would highly recommend for anybody that wants a fun Hesh-firing vehicle that is definitely going to eat your credits, but you'll have quite a bit of fun in, this is the way to go. Now, technically, you can run a pretty solid gun that has 3,200 damage per minute and 340 mils of heat with still decent high explosive, but personally, I don't see a point to running the 105mm Royal Ordnance unless you are a brand new player. But at that point, why are you grinding the 4202? Go for a Patton, go for an STB1. Much easier, much better tanks, especially because you also have to play the Tier 8 and Tier 9 on this line, which are also Hesh-firing vehicles. I think the 4202 is absolutely fantastic, though, and I think anybody that wants to take advantage of this vehicle's playstyle can definitely do so. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to see more like it, you know what to do, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!